Well, what I've been watching in this election campaign, and I really find it quite distressing, is parties are revealing the mix. Everybody, I think, agrees that the deficit's going to have to come down. We can't have $354 billion deficits. Well, we probably couldn't afford it for 1 year, never mind longer. So everybody agrees the deficit's coming down. Parties have to reveal their preferences. Are we going to do this through cutting spending, or are we going to do it through higher taxes? It's quite interesting that most parties are talking about higher taxes. Most obviously, the NDP, they're going to bring in a wealth tax, they're going to bring in corporate income taxes. It's the exact opposite of what economists recommend. When we had to deal with the fiscal crisis in the federal government in the mid-90s, over 80% of the deficit reduction was done through spending restraint. That's about what the IMF recommends. They say that somewhere between 80 and preferably even 100% spending restraint. You want to avoid tax hikes as much as possible because tax hikes discourage investment, lead people to leave less money in the pockets of people. So, as I say, we don't seem to have learned that lesson at all. In fact, we seem to be going in the exact opposite direction. More and more parties are talking about raising taxes. Almost nobody's talking about spending restraint. And that's the exact opposite of what economists want.
Yeah, Aaron Wudrick, obviously, whenever you have an election, parties are going to make promises. So that's not exactly that's man bites dog kind of thing. It's gonna that's what they want to get the attention. So is that where we're in right now? A lot of promises that are more expensive.
Yeah, look, yeah, as you say, it's certainly not the first election where parties are going to try and bid for your vote by talking about how much they're going to spend. But what I think might be a little different in this case is the pandemic is providing cover for anything and everything in terms of spending. People can just point and say, oh, we had a pandemic, and therefore that justifies spending this and that. And I think there might be, a little bit of people have been desensitized to the idea of a deficit. If you go back before the pandemic, talking about a $20 or $30 billion deficit seemed really big. Whereas now, if you're coming off $300 billion, suddenly 150 doesn't seem that large. And that's where I worry is that parties are using this as cover to just sort of shrug off the idea that we can spend and not worry about how we're going to pay for it. And as Philip said, the real way you get this under control is to cut spending. Look, there's going to be different preferences in terms of size of government. Some people will want more spending and some will want less. But surely we can all agree you have to figure out a way to pay for it. And that's not what we're seeing with any of the party spending plans. Okay.
This is a little bit unfair because we only have one of the major parties who've got a full platform, and it is being costed as we speak. That's the Conservative Party of Canada and Aaron O'Toole's 160-page platform. Now, some of it is foreign policy. There's a bunch of stuff in terms of environmental policy, which I suppose is costly as well. But a lot of it is domestic policy. So that I'm going to give Aaron the first crack. I'm not expecting that you've read every one of those 160 pages to a T, but you've probably done what I did, which is at least flip through it and seen some things in it. So what really struck you when you read that platform?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, it's very detailed. I think they went out of their way to try and demonstrate that they put a lot of thought in some of these policies. I would say a lot of them are more interventionist than you might normally expect from a conservative party. If you think of conservative parties as the party of free markets, there is talk about unleashing innovation and things like that. But there is a fair bit of industrial policy in there that I don't think we've seen for some time. The platform is uncosted. I believe all of them are. I think the parliamentary budget officer is going to cost them. So to put some price tag on it, but I think it's defensible policy. It's not going to be everyone's cup of tea, but it's a serious document that's got a lot of meat in it.
We've got just over 30 seconds. I'll get to Philip next round, but the one in the shop window, Aaron, in 30 seconds is the GST holiday in December. What do you think about that?
Yeah, look, it's a little bit gimmicky, but it's something that certainly gets people's attention. That's the time of year when people spend a lot of money, and so if you're looking for retail politics that is going to grab people's attention, it's probably not a bad start.
Well, we will continue our analysis after the break. Please stay with us. Philip Cross will be up to give him fair rights of rebuttal or at least analysis. Stay with us. We'll be back after these messages.